Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you guys tuning in with Coffee and Judo with Steve and Travis. First of all, I want to wish you all a happy new year. Hopefully, everything went well last year and wishing you a healthy and prosperous new year. Today, unfortunately, Travis is not going to be with us today. He's traveling. I found out certainly this time with enough time to make a few adjustments. As you know, our format normally is that Travis and I are discussing topics, and I provide videos that Travis hasn't seen before. And we have a good time with Travis's breakdown of the videos. But I'm going to do something a little different because since I'm alone, and I'm going to discuss a topic in judo and have my videos back up the topic. So maybe we can have a discussion and uh, learn something as we're going along. So I really do appreciate you guys tuning in, and please feel free to ask any questions as always, and we're happy to. I'm happy to answer all questions. So what I want to talk about today, and I do have a live session with coaches too, but that's membership only. So this will be a little bit tiered toward that, so I can stick to the to a topic and throw down videos for you guys to better understand what I'm talking about. The When I look at developing a judo player from day one to the Olympic Games, actually I've done that to the Olympic gold medal match, and you start like any other sport with basic fundamentals. You know, if it's baseball, how do you hold a bat? If it's tennis, how do you hold a racket? If it's golf, how do you hold a club? Then you go on and you teach the basic fundamentals. And as you learn those basic fundamentals, if it's baseball, you hit the ball, you run to first base. And if you watch kids learn for the first time, they don't know that. They don't know that. They have to be taught that. It's no different in judo. So you teach the rules of the game. And I'm going to use this word game a lot because game is important in judo. Judo is a game. Okay. So you learn the game. So what are the rules? The rules are what they are. And then it becomes challenging because there are variables. So, what are the variables? What's the size of the opponent? What's the weight of the opponent? What's the situation? Righty, lefty, high grip, standard grip. All those variables come into play. And how do we deal with them? So, as I am teaching the basic fundamentals, I'm also teaching the game. No different than any other sport. I don't think we do that in the United States in judo, but I think we need to. And that's how I teach. So as we're learning how to use techniques, we also have to learn when to use them. And just simple basics is that most people, when they're learning a technique and they're learning judo, when they do randori or fight in the tournament, they have a their plan to do a throw is made before the throw is open. So I'm going to do Morote Sayanagi, and I grab my opponent, and he's leaning back, and I still try the Morote Sayanagi. Well, obviously, we got to explain to the student that your opponent's leaning backwards, so you don't do Morote Sayanagi. Maybe you do Ouchigari or Ko Ouchigari. And then you develop a feel. Now, mind you, we're teaching kids from the beginning, and that's how they learn. No different in any other sport. What's the situation? What's the variable? All those things. So, one of the things that I come in contact with as kids start playing judo and they get a little better is what do I do when I'm in a stalemate? Okay. So we're fighting, we're grip fighting. I have my grip, they have their grip. What do I do? I'm stuck. And that's a common thing in judo. And what I teach people is that there's one rule we must always remember. When we off balance our opponent thinks about only one thing, and we could use ourselves as an example. When someone knocks me off balance, I have one objective in mind. Everything else goes out the window. I've got to get back on balance. I can't be off balance. So I know, and I teach my kids that, well, during that time that my opponent is off balance and they're trying to get on balance, they're not thinking about their position. They're not thinking about their grip. They're not thinking about anything other than gaining their position and then getting back in. And that is the time where you make your gain. Is it a gain in position? Is it a gain in grip? Is it a gain where you make an attack as they're recovering? All those things happen when someone is off balance. And that's something that has to be taught. You have to teach kids to recognize that when, and you'll watch kids and or adults too, that someone gets off balance and then the person doing the attacking lets his opponent get back on balance and you start back again in a stalemate. But you don't want to do that. You want to take advantage of your opponent when they're weak. You have to know when they're weak and you need to take advantage. So it's important to know how to do that. Okay. The other thing that we need to learn is, how do we force a reaction? It's important to know how to force a reaction, because if I can force my opponent to lean backwards, I know that I can make a backwards attack and be successful. If I can force my opponent to lean forward, I can do that. If I can force them to move in a direction, okay, those are all things that need to be learned. You learn it from feeling it, you learn it from watching it, and you learn it by someone teaching it to you. All pieces of the puzzle that are really important. So what I want to do is I want to go over a few videos and get an idea what I'm talking about. So just in case you're not sure where I'm coming from. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the top athletes in the world champions, doing this, and you'll see how the flow comes, that when someone's off balance, how they take advantage of it. You've got two good players. One is, and again, if you guys have listened to me before, I'm crazy talking about Ashiwaza. And Ashiwaza is a great way to knock your opponent off balance. So I'm going to start with this video, and you guys can comment, and I'll just keep talking. And I've got several videos that talk about off balancing your opponent, forcing reactions, and forcing movement. All important in gaining the advantage and winning in judo. So we're going to start here with one of the best judo players in the world, two-time world champion Grigashvili, fighting a top Belgium athlete. And watch how he uses his feet, and not only his feet, watch how he takes advantage. Look at that. And I'm going to slow it down for you and break it down. We'll watch it again in slow motion. So as you see there, let me see if I can get to the slow motion part. So what we just saw him do, what we're going to watch him do is when he knocks him off balance, watch how he breaks the grip. Let's watch it all again. I apologize. What he's going to do is he's going to knock him off balance, and then he's going to take his opponent's hand off. Then he's going to get a better grip and use his feet and knock him off balance in the other direction. And then he's going to change direction and throw him for ippon. And it's beautifully done here. Watch. There, grip off. Change. Again, grab the other way. Now go in the other direction. Watch it again. Hand off the gi. Change. Again, switch. Now he goes in the other direction. Look how easily the Belgian player goes over, because he's trying to recover. He's trying to recover. And watch how fast he moves into change. As soon as his opponent is off balance, he's on the attack. He's on the attack. And uh, when I found this video, I knew I had to use it because it's any kind of off balancing, any kind of off balancing. But this was done. It was so good because it was step by step, one direction, the other direction. He just keeps taking them in different directions. And as you know, when you're off balance to your right, in order to get back on balance, you have to overcompensate and lean to your left for a period of time, a short period of time. But if you're there moving and taking advantage, it's going to happen. Watch this one more time. Look, gi off. Look, off balance. Now he recovers, other way. Look how surprised he is to go to the other direction. He's got like no defense anymore. Attack, attack, keep going, grab. Look how he changes all the way to the other side. Done. So as you know, I am, as I said, using your feet is so important in judo. It's so important that the people, most of the best players have good ashiwaza. Maybe all, but at least most for sure. And it's so important to use your feet when you're gaining your grip, when you're making something happen. And it's just really, really important. And I'm going to show you another ashiwaza thing. But first, we're going to go to forcing reactions. Okay. So when I teach judo, I'm always teaching kids not only how to force a reaction, but how to recognize and take advantage of it. And here's one. Here's an example of a sasai, and it's a really good example because look, we're going to look at pressure. Look at the pressure on the opponent near the edge of the mat. I love sasai. It's a great throw, and you think, look at the pressure forward. And look, as soon as the pressure comes back, look at him pull back. Look how easy that goes. Look, you see the pressure, and then sasai. I think that's Dennis Veru, maybe. He's one of my favorite players. It's beautiful. Push, and then turn. The sasai is easy when your opponent's leaning forward. So when judo is done right, I can't even pause this. No. Let me go back here. So when judo is done correctly, it looks effortless. It just looks effortless. And can you play it again? Yeah, I'm happy to show you the sasai again. Yes. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, it's a beautiful sasai. And if he did the sasai at a different time, it may not work. It may not work. So Steve, you saw it. Great. So and again, it's the feel. You put pressure on your opponent, he leans back into you, and you hit the sasai. Okay, it's just a beautiful attack. A beautiful attack. I'm going to show you another one, and it's quick. And sometimes at the highest level, the movement to force the reaction is subtle. Because if someone, and we showed a video last month too, I think we did, I'm not sure, of Abe, but when you are threatening forward, as you move into your throw, you get that reaction. And this is just a simple kouchi. And it looks simple. Watch how the forward hit the kouchi. That is Dennis Veru. So let's watch again. So in watching this, we're going to watch it again. I want you to watch the right foot of Blue. Watch his right foot, and watch when Dennis comes in how that foot comes forward to defend. It's quick, and Dennis is quick to the foot. Watch, it's just beautiful. Just so, believe it or not, Dennis feels that in his hands. He pulls forward. He feels that resistance. Now, when I talk about learning the game, and I'm showing you, the Tom Brady's of judo, it's not as simple as that. It takes time to learn. You know, when you are teaching and coaching, or when you're learning, okay, as a teacher and coach, you want to be focused and watch your athletes play and correct them when they're wrong and credit them when they're right. Let them know. Sometimes they're right halfway and you need to go in and say, listen, that was great. You need to do this a little more. So we're trying to develop, and that's what development is. We're developing our athletes. And they don't develop in leaps and bounds. They develop in baby steps. And that's how we want to train them. And what we're seeing is the result of those baby steps all of a sudden adding up. In 1 year you may have 5 baby steps forward, but in 5 years then you may have 40. And then all of a sudden your judo's really getting good and you're playing the game good. I tell all my athletes, I say that if you're a great technician and you don't play the game well, you're an average player. If you're a good technician and you play the game great, you could be Olympic champion. And I've seen that happen. Understanding the movement and how to force movement and force reactions is critical in learning how to win. It's critical in learning how to win. And that's where I use the word game. It's a game. Whether you're a pitcher, a quarterback, whatever game you're playing, you want to be able to play the game really, really good. So that's one aspect. And Dennis Veru is someone that if you guys have access, watch this guy play. He does beautiful judo. He's top 3 in the world. Unfortunately, he's in a division with both Mariama and Abe, and it's a rough road, but he's a special player. So now we're going to work. I'm going to show you a different one that is a little more difficult, but beautiful when done correctly. And here we're talking about a switch. So we're going to watch someone. Let's watch this and I'll explain it. Okay, so here we are. Oh God, can I stop it? I can't pause this. How do I pause this? All right, hold on. Did I do it? I didn't do it. Okay, I paused. No, I didn't. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm going to have to let this go and we'll talk over it. I'm sorry. What we're watching is we're watching White come across with his left foot and draw the resistance back. Look at Blue leaning back. Watch again how Blue leans back when his foot comes across. Look at that. That's just a beautiful technique. We call this a switch. So one of the things I want to point out, if you guys watch videos, can I stop it or not? What the heck? Okay, I guess I can't pause this. I don't know how. All right. So I'm sorry. I want to talk to you a little bit. So I watch people on videos showing this move, and it shows them when they do this switch where they take their upper body and they throw their upper body forward when they're trying to cause the reaction. And you'll see the way I teach it, it doesn't work that way. So when I'm getting the reaction for the switch, my back's going to be straight because whether the switch is coming off an Uchimata, which is usually the case, or it's coming off a Tayatochi, which Dennis Varu would use. But mostly it's off of Uchimata, where you get the big hip, resistance. So if you lean forward, you're not going to get a resistance because they're not going to be threatened. But when your back is up straight and you come in, that's where you get the resistance, and that's when you can move behind your opponent so much quicker. And again, when your head is above your hips and your body's not standing up straight with your posture, it's difficult to do your throws correctly. So we'll just watch this again. I'm sorry about the not being able to manage the videos. Doesn't work for me. So we'll just watch this again, maybe. We'll see if it comes up. Your coffee's already cold. What do you want me to do for you? You want me to send you a microwave? Just throw it in the microwave. Get it warm. So what are my thoughts on the rule changes in judo? Well, I will tell you this before I comment on the rule changes in judo. I want you to understand that changes come every quadrennium. So before I comment now, just months before the Olympics, let's wait for the rule changes after the Olympics in July. If you're talking about rule changes, if you're referencing the rule changes as far as leg grabs or anything like that, I think it's a mistake. I think that any positive judo should be allowed and negative judo shouldn't be allowed. And I think that it's really, it's not difficult to know the difference between what positive judo is and what negative judo is. So if you're lifting a leg to do a throw and you're continuing with the throw, in my personal opinion, I have no problem with it. And I think that there was a time that we had a lot more wrestlers doing judo. And today, while a lot of judo players wrestle, we don't have as many wrestlers doing judo because it's gotten so far away from that. That may be the idea and what they want, but I think it's a mistake because there's a lot of great judo to do by grabbing the legs. And again, it's really simple. If it's negative, let's penalize it. If it's positive, let's score it. So hopefully, Wesley, that answers the question. I want to go over the switch again if we can get it, and watch Tori's body position when he forces the reaction. That's the important part. Yes, I said, I am new to competition and I weigh about 85 kilos. My first competition, I competed at 90, won 2, lost 2, considering cutting weight to 81, but I'm very lean and I don't want to get weak. And any advice? Here's my advice, and this is what I tell my students. You need to play the division that you play your best judo. So at 85 kilos, if you play your best judo, then I recommend, maybe bulking up a couple kilos if you can, and play your best judo. I find that if you're cutting to 81 and it's an easy cut for you, that's fine. But if cutting weight becomes the most challenging part of the tournament, and you feel that after you weigh in, you have such a great relief that you've accomplished something, I think that you're fighting the wrong weight division. In my opinion, you should be able to train very close to the weight that you compete at. And it could be 3 kilos away. I prefer 2, but 3 kilos away is fine. But people that train 5, 6 kilos away from their weight, I find they're training and they're doing judo at a different You're doing judo differently with different strength, and it's different. And I prefer that my athletes train closer to their weight division. I can tell you this, that when I coached Jimmy Pedro, we were weighing ourselves every day, and Jimmy was either on weight or within a kilo. And that just happened to be the way he was. But he trained very close to his weight. And when we trained in camps in Europe, and he fought people that were 10 kilos over, that felt incredibly strong, when he fought them in tournament 10 kilos lighter, it was a big difference. It was a big difference. So my recommendation is stay where you're strongest, get stronger, get bigger. That may be easier for you to do, and by all means, continue to work on your judo. I don't like it when the scale is an accomplishment. The scale is just a pathway into the competition. So that's my thought on that. Let's see if I can get back here. Video. Okay, maybe this will allow me to do it. God, I don't know if I can. Let me go here. Sorry. Let me just see if I could do this. It's the Koichi again. Okay. So so here's something I'm going to show one more action, a forced reaction here. Let's see if I can get this. So watch how this athlete, young lady, watch how she does the Ippon Seoinage. Look at the reaction. Look at the response to the Ippon Seoinage. Look at that. This is just beautiful. She comes in the Ippon Seoinage. Watch how the Uke's response. Watch her feet. Let's see if we can do this again. Maybe we're working again. Watch her feet as she comes in the Ippon Seoinage. Look at her leaning back. And I will when I laugh because I know that when people bite and they react to the forced reaction, normally it's a pretty hard fall. Normally it's a pretty hard fall. Are these both lefties? I'd have to. I didn't see the whole match. I don't know. Normally, God, I don't know for sure. It certainly looks like blue is a lefty. So it's very possible they're both lefties. But it's just it's again we're playing a game. If you're playing a game where there's a defender, if it's basketball, if it's football, if it's soccer, any of them, we want to try to force our opponent to think we're going in one direction and we go in the other direction. I'd like to use tennis as an example. Great tennis players, when they're hitting a ball, they can tell where their opponents, where they're leaning. And you'll see the great ones when the ball is in the corner and they go to swing, you can't tell if they're going to hit it down the line or across court. And then all of a sudden you'll see the guy standing in the middle and he just stands there and watches the ball. He was leaning the wrong way. And they could sense that. They see that. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're forcing our opponent to lean back because they think we're going to throw them forward. And then we throw them backwards. And like I said, when you can tell they're leaning backwards into the throw by how hard the throw is. There's no disrespect. I'm just because I know. Look at that. What a nice move. Look at the reaction. It's just beautiful judo. It's beautiful judo. We're watching, and again, if they fight again, it may end completely different. People get caught in judo. But the point is, it's the game, right? We're playing the game. How do we play the game? How do we get people off balance? How do we take advantage of it? How do we force reactions from people? We have to teach that to people. They have to learn, okay? And we teach it in stages when kids are young, but we have to teach them. You can't let them grow up and look at the game and say, hey, what's going on? Where are we at? In the United States, we're not winning enough matches. We need to teach the game of judo, just like they teach it for kids in soccer and football and baseball, one step at a time. So kids get to learn. I don't want to be teaching kids the game for the first time at 14 and 15. Don't have to get into any deep detail, but we need to learn the game and how it works. And fortunately for us, to keep your athletes from getting knee injuries. God, judo is judo. Yeah, I mean, what do I do to keep them from doing, first of all, doing good judo. When you learn judo correctly, you relax when you play. You learn to take falls when someone catches you. You stand in the proper positions. You enter the throws correctly. Your chances of getting hurt are far less. If you are, so as an athlete, the better judo you do, the less risk of injury. Okay? If you're running a dojo, obviously things happen. You want to make sure you manage your numbers on the mat at the same time so people aren't running into each other and falling on each other. But there's nothing better for protecting your body than doing good judo. It's a combative sport. People get hurt. There's nothing you can do about it, but limiting your risk is really based on doing the best judo, teaching good judo from day one. Good, strong fundamentals. I'm crazy with that. And I'll just throw this out there really quick. I'm just starting next weekend. I'm going to be in Ohio doing a kids workshop, working with beginner coaches and trying to teach them good basic fundamental drills and games for kids to learn. So at a young age, they start learning in a fun way, basic fundamentals of judo, which is posture, positioning, foot positioning, hand positioning, all sorts of things, and balance and agility. All those things in games where kids are learning that promote good judo. So it's important to do. When I see something like Okuriyashi Barai effortlessly, the ability to read movement. All right, Yuppie, you just brought out something. I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like, okay? Just because of you, I'm going to change my video order for a second, okay? So you're going to see this, and again, it's subtle because people are too good at the top level where you're going to see adjustments in big movements. You have to guide people. When you want people to move with you, you have to guide them. If you pull them, they're going to react. So we're going to watch this Ashibarai by the great Italian Fabio, and we're going to watch it a couple times because I want you to watch how he moves to his right to get the angle on the foot sweep and force the movement. I mean, this is beautiful. It's beautiful. We'll watch this again. Watch how he moves to his right. Watch. Move to your right. Now sweep. So, I mean, it's just beautiful judo. That's beautiful judo. And I love foot sweeps too, and I'm glad you do. It is an art. It is an art. And the people that do it, love this guy's Kataguru. Yes, guy's special. There's no question. This guy is special, but you're going to find that the guys that can do sweeps like this do everything good. You know what I mean? These guys are good. When you see a guy like Mariyama do Uchimata all the time and all the highlight videos, if you watch further, you'll see he does a great Taio, a great Osoto, a great Sode. These guys are well-rounded athletes, well-rounded. And when you're teaching judo, you want to round your athletes out. You teach a forward technique and a backward technique. You go to the sides. You go all different directions. Teach your kids all the directions. In the beginning, you're not going to know what they're going to be good at, but you want to expose them to all directions. We have to be able to go in both directions. Just like you saw the Osoto and the kochi and the switch. Okay, you think the ability to sweep well is just understanding the fundamentals really well? So part of it is, I mean, like I said in the beginning of, for me personally, I swept every day. I moved my body, I stepped and I swept every day of judo. Turned my foot, swept from the hip. At the time I was 15, I was throwing people all the time with foot sweeps. Better focus. Would foot sweeps be better focus on instead? See my first question again. You think the ability to sweep well is just understanding the fundamentals? Oh, yes. Well, I mean, the fundamentals of movement, of posture. Yes. So the idea, so when you think about foundation, think about a building. You know, I took my young athletes. Uh, I brought them in a room and I put up video of watching a building being built. And the first 6 months, the whole building that was built was underground. So at the end of 6 months, you couldn't see anything, but it was the foundation. We need to build a foundation. Okay. So, yes, fundamentals are the foundation and it's absolutely necessary. Yes, they'll develop a foot sweep. Now, what else do you do? So, in your fundamentals, you're sweeping every day, but in randori, tell your kids they need to do 5 foot sweeps around, 5 foot sweeps around. And as I said before, they're going to be hitting a brick wall for a long time. You develop the timing by feel, and you develop the feel by repetition. So, again, I'll repeat that at some point, your student's going to do a foot sweep and it's going to work. And is going to say, what did I do that was different? I did the foot sweep the same way. They develop a feel for it and they feel the move and it starts working. And that's what the and no, you want to work on fundamentals and you teach techniques, you know, and you teach a wide range of techniques. Morote, Ippon Seyanagi, Uchimata, Harayagoshi, Osoto, Ouchi, Kouchi, Sasai. Teach them all. Teach them all. Posture, position, using your arms correctly. All those things, spacing, all those things are critical in fundamentals that will teach these kids or teach athletes how to do judo correctly. And then when your athlete or you are 14, 15, 16, if your fundamentals are strong, then you go and start training with other coaches and you learn from other people. And maybe it's Canada, maybe it's Great Britain, maybe it's Japan, or maybe it's Boston with Jimmy Pedro and Travis. Maybe it's New York with Jason Morris. In order to grow, you need to have, you know, a solid foundation. So you as the beginning coach are the critical teacher to put your kids on the path to learning. And no one else is going to do that but you. You know, and if you read what I write, I write very emphatically about the beginning coaches not getting enough credit because I think they deserve the most credit. You're putting kids on the path to learning, but it's important that we understand the basic fundamentals and we understand that repetition is the mother of all learning. Don't get lazy. Don't feel like you know. Kids will respond. You'll make it fun, but they'll react to the repetition, and they'll develop fundamentals, and they'll develop it at different rates, and that's okay. That's okay. So I think part of observing the partner when relaxed, not trying to move them or force them, slowly you start seeing by your hand. Yeah, I mean, yeah, what you do what works. Relaxing when you do judo is critical. I do a drill, and I did the drill today in this morning's practice. What you do is you move around and you defend only with your hips. Get a feel for using your hips. Let your opponent all the way in. And if you can't stop them, you take the fall, but you start learning how to use your hips, using your body when relaxed. Good players do that. And good players feel like they weigh 1,000 pounds. You can't be thrown. So, I mean, these people, I mean, it's very, it's an odd feeling. It's hard to move these people. You know, They're relaxed, they look relaxed, and they feel like a ton of bricks. That's something that's learned over time. And you relax and you learn how to use your hips. That's a good question. That's a good point. I want to go to another foot sweep, if you don't mind, and watching left on right and how it is set up. And I want you to watch how the left-handed player. Let's watch how he keeps his sweeping foot, his left foot, outside. You see how he's keeping it outside? And now the direction changes. It's that simple. He's forcing his opponent's right foot in front of his. Let's watch again. Watch how he moves. He's moving to his left. Then he moves into the foot sweep. It's very similar to what we just saw from Fabio. You know, he's forcing the movement now into the foot sweep. And if you watch, I'll show this again. I want you to watch the strong step with his right foot into the foot sweep. It's powerful. It's an explosion. It's a hard sweep. It may not look that way because it goes so easy, but he is exploding into this foot sweep, stepping on his right foot and blasting his left. We'll watch this again. Watch. Step hit. That's a move. Step and sweep. His whole body is into it. Step. Okay. That's beautiful judo, beautiful ashiwaza. And watch how he forces that. He forces that. Do you encourage left-handed players when he fights opposite stances opponents to switch the opponent's stance? Absolutely not. Play your strength. Play your strength. When I fight a righty and they turn, do you encourage left-handed players when he or she fights opposites to you play your strength. You play your strength. Judo's hard enough stopping a guy who's good with your strength, let alone with your weaker stance. You should do both sides of judo from your strong stance. That's how I see it. That's how I teach it. It's not like baseball where you can bat from both sides. What I want to do is I want to stand my strong side. I defend best that way. I force actions and reactions that way. And I also use my opposite side at times, to judo, like a righty doing a left side Ippon Seoinage. Even a left side Ogoshi, which I don't necessarily, I like Ippon Seoinage much better, or an or a Koshiguruma, something like that. Opposite side is good, but I don't like to put my weaker side ever that way. That's a good question. A good question. So we just saw some movement. I'm going to go to another movement that I like. What did I miss here? Okay, let's go to some movement. This is a nice movement, Seoinage. It's a bigger guy, but watch how the movement is forced. We'll watch it one more time. So I want making things happen and why it works, not necessarily helps to make everything work and things. I'm glad you enjoy it, Yuppie. I love it. Thank you. I want you to watch. I'm training with Greg. Oh, very cool, Rick. Very cool. I was just with his niece. I want you to watch something which you may not have seen in this match. Okay, when you're doing Morote Seoinage, one of the difficulty things of doing Morote, the difficult things, excuse me, is freeing your right hand. It's freeing your right hand because when you come in, that pressure on the elbow doesn't allow you to get in. People that do Morote successfully understand that when their opponent lets go of the sleeve, or you can get the sleeve removed, sleeve hand, you do not let your opponent grab your sleeve again because you want that freedom to bring your elbow in the armpit. So while we watch the movement in the Seoinage this time, I want you to watch the elbow. Watch Tori's elbow as he's shaking, moving his elbow as he's moving, And watch how Uke is trying to grab that elbow. He's trying to grab that elbow. And as he's chasing him, he's thinking about grabbing the elbow. And the Seoinage just works good. Let's watch him move that elbow. You see him moving it? He's moving it. Now, there it is. Watch him move the elbow. You see he's keeping it up, down. The guy can't get a good grip. There's the Seoinage. That's, again, that's part of the game. My opponent let go of my sleeve. I'm not giving him the sleeve back. Why should I? That's my power hand. My power hand is what drives my judo. He's grabbing my power hand to keep me from entering the throw. He lets go. That's an opportunity. He's not getting it back. I'm not giving him my sleeve back. Watch again. The sleeve is free. Look at him. Up, 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 up. Follow. Over. I love this. I love this. That's just perfect. Yes, Alvin. It's again, it's funny that you will, as you teach your kids these things, your kids will begin to feel it. You'll feel when someone lets go or loosens their hand. They'll feel it. Okay? That's why it's so important to start teaching your students at an early age. Now, I don't mean at an early stage in judo. Some kids start at 14. Start teaching them the game. The game, the game, the game. Teach them the game. Because doing this may take time, but understanding it won't. So when you explain to someone what we want to do when our opponent lets go, we want to move our elbow and make it difficult. And make it difficult for them to grab. And then when he's thinking about grabbing the gi, he's not thinking about other things. And watch how easy, again, he chases him as he moves. Uke is thinking about grabbing that sleeve. I don't have a grip. I got to grab. Watch how White takes advantage of it. Look at him move. Now he hits it. I just love this. Look at that. It's just beautiful judo. Beautiful. And like I said, that is the game. It's how you play the game. So that's why I go to such great lengths in explaining it to coaches, to athletes, to people, because it's important that we start at an early stage, because the game is critical in learning how to win at judo, learning how to teach judo, all the things about it. Again, you don't have to be a great judo athlete to be a great teacher and great coach. You say that all the time in baseball and football. They're players, but they're not the best of the best players. Too many other things go into being an elite athlete. But understanding the game, knowing how to teach the game, knowing how to coach the game is a different skill set. So while our judo level may have a ceiling, it doesn't mean our judo ability as a coach and teacher does. We could learn more and be better. So we never stop learning. And I'll tell you this, never stop being curious. I appreciate you all, everyone who's come and joined this to hear me talk and Travis talk and learn. Never stop learning. I promise you I don't. I watch more, I think I watch more judo videos than anyone, with the understanding that I got to try to, excite Travis on this call. But nonetheless, I do. Let me end this with a simple koichi with a heavyweight, which I thought I'd add in here. And again, the movement is subtle. And the player is Saito. He's good. A lot of senseis are resistant to learning new things, unfortunately. Elvin, that's a discussion for a different day. I just wrote about that. And I have a new letter coming out. If you can't find it, email me at steve@americanjudo.com. I talk about that directly. If there's nobody that I can't learn from. There's nobody I don't want to hear from. I'm always looking to learn. The day I end my curiosity is the day I stop learning, and it's the day I stop being a good coach. we have to be curious. And I'll tell you this with with all due respect to everyone, if your sensei puts walls and ceilings on you, you need to look to grow elsewhere. You know, you look to. So, like I said, I wrote about this. And any of you guys, again, Steve at AmericanJudo.com. I'll answer your emails if you have questions. That's what I do. So feel free to do that. Let me end with this heavyweight Kouchi, which I like because it's just so good. Let's get this out of the way. Watch how he forces the reaction backwards. It's subtle. Look, watch this. Nice. The first time I watched this, I wasn't I wasn't expecting it. Now, Saito is one of the best players in the world. And just look at this Ashiwaza. It's beautiful. Turn in. Don't think a heavyweight can't go down. It's just beautiful. So I will tell you that for those of you that find some videos like this on YouTube, what you can do is you can use your scroller and go, frame by frame, and you'll be able to see how Uke changes his direction backwards. When I'm watching the heels. I'm always watching the heels. So watch how when he comes in, he's not going back if he's not leaning back. He's not going back if he's not leaning back. Now, he got caught. Look at that. So as I conclude, think about the game. Think about teaching the game, learning the game, and understanding that that's an important part of judo and growth. And to tell you the truth, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because as we all have limitations, we have no limitations in understanding the game. As you watch judo, the better you know the game, the better you're going to like watching it. As you learn, as you learn more, it'll be more fun teaching it. And when you get students that understand what you're teaching, then judo teaching becomes more fun, and you become more inspired. So it's great. Keep learning. Be curious. Ask questions. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed the call. I know we all missed Travis, but we'll catch him next time. We can give him a hard time when he comes back. Thanks all for joining, guys. You have a good weekend. Goodbye.